do this. Okay. Oh, Lord, I mushed buttons. There we go. Before we begin, I want to ask you a little bit about how this week's exercises went. Did anybody do any of the writings or try any of the funtivities? Um, Anybody? Is that a no? A yeah, we tried it. No, see, this is the part where you talk to me.
I did not try it.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
What did you do?
I did the writings.
Okay, cool. That's all I want to
Um,
know.
oh,
Don't ask me to remember one of
so
that. Sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I was with somebody last night and vulnerability actually popped up. I know I wasn't on last week, but the one little thing you sent out, excuse me, share one sentence with somebody safe. Um, Now I can't remember the rest of what it said.
I do too.
Something that you wouldn't normally share with somebody. Yeah. So it was interesting because she said, so I said, oh, this is pretty cool. And then she said, well, I would say that I wasn't going to be this honest tonight. And I was like, oh, well, good for you. Thank you for sharing. So it was just neat that I could bring that up while we were talking. So thank you.
I was very mindful of when I was opening up and when I was kind of holding back. I had a lot more awareness of that over the weekend. I did do a couple of the right. I didn't do, I don't think I did all three, but I know I did two of them, which is always helpful when I do a little bit of writing in between. It keeps the ideas fresh. Can you see that? We're still sharing, right? You can see that. Yes, you can.
Mhm.
So tonight we're going to be talking about maintaining safety and sanity surrounding vulnerability. One of the things that I think as I was first starting this, there were people going, "Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. I understand. I relate to this. I struggle with this, whatever." The goal is not to be vulnerable in all times and all places. That's unwise. But it is to have that gift of discernment and recognizing where instead of putting up a wall, we need to put a window or a door, where we need to be communicating and getting pride and ego out of the way, removing some of the barriers, especially in intimate relationships. And so this week we're going to kind of put some parameters of baby gates on this, so that it's not, because we all have those friends who have no filter or boundaries, and that's not more comfortable than dealing with straight barbed wire. So we're going to reframe it. Vulnerability is not exposure. It's not an obligation. Vulnerability is always a choice. Not every truth needs an audience. I think that slide is actually for me, I suspect. Um, Discernment is not knowing the difference. I'm going to say not just knowing the difference between right and wrong. It is also knowing the difference between right and almost right. So we're going to start with a warm-up writing. And the prompt is, I was vulnerable, but I regretted it later because. So we're going to write a little bit about a time when we were vulnerable, let somebody in, shared something, and then maybe regretted it later on. So on your mark, get set, let's write. Finish your thoughts. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I was trying to figure out the date. Okay. Anybody want to start us off? That's a big fat no. Okay. Um, Anna, will you please?
Yeah, I struggled with this one. I was vulnerable but regretted it later. Likely at my job. I forgot that you do not need to give feedback just because it is requested or answer all questions just because they come from my boss. My new boss inquired about me not having kids and then inquired if I had had losses, only to cap it off with, I think God didn't give me any miscarriages because I couldn't have handled it. I think she knew from my face that I was not happy. Um, but it was perfectly okay for me to just say, I prefer to keep things professional at work, and I did not. I've gotten better about opening my mouth when it comes to um, people that are critical of prisoners that I work that are in to be treated at my work. But there was a time when somebody was being critical, and I said, "Oh, look at you on your high horse, with no criminal record," um, and then shut my mouth. Um, I have to watch what I share with my sisters so it doesn't get thrown back in my face or create a bigger chasm. Um, I know, I don't know what else, but I know it's not really a vulnerability thing, but I regularly say I don't want to help any more people when I've been asked too many questions at work all day. It's probably not ideal.
Thank you. Marie?
Yeah. I was vulnerable once or twice and regret it. Well, not sure exactly when. Well, that's not true. I was vulnerable to a woman who I was to trust, and I opened up to her, and she shot me down. She like waved it off, ignored me. It was like the worst feeling, a woman I thought I could trust. When I do not get vulnerable when I do get vulnerable with her, it made me want to just run. It changed our relationship felt forever. I felt so betrayed. It was not nice and it hurts me when it happened. Peaches is behind me snorting and making all kinds of noise and I'm writing and I don't know what to do about it. I remember a time opening up with someone another time not too long ago. It was truly embarrassing because it was something that probably shouldn't have said out loud. So with me, and she said, "You're just being a big baby." And I wasn't being a baby. I was really telling her something quite vulnerable. Again, not heard, not seen. I hate that feeling so much. This question is bringing up memories and it shuts me down for the longest time to be open. I'm afraid and to open my mouth, or I'll open my mouth and I'll kick you, one of the two. Better, but getting better in recovery. But still, I'm a bit standoffish. Any one of those events happened not too long ago that where I was not seen, not heard, and I regret my vulnerability with them. I truly do. But I have to just look at me. Maybe it was wrong what I was doing. I don't know. I am one to hold things close to my chest with many people, but I do have a few heart friends and I do not. Today I truly have them in my life. There goes Peaches again, just chewing away. She's driving me crazy as I write. I really don't have much more to say on the question. I just know it happened and pray, and I learned from it. It hurt, really hurt. I felt betrayed. I don't regret opening up. I just regret I couldn't trust her. Sometimes I wonder about people. I truly do. I hope 10 minutes is up really soon. Peaches is driving me crazy. I need to do something.
Peaches is her very cute bulldog. She's a very pretty girl.
Mm.
Maggie?
Um, moving to this small town where everyone knows everyone, I was eager to be part of community. I jumped into teaching middle schoolers, which is like vulnerability on crack. I loved many of my colleagues and found myself oversharing quite often. The safe people didn't bat an eye. The unsafe people left me feeling like I was back in middle school myself, and there were no seats left at the cool table. Oversharing is still one of my room for growth places. Not sharing everything with everyone is hard sometimes because I go deep quick. It does a good job of weeding out the water bugs, but there is discomfort when I've gone too deep with the wrong audience. I grieve the community I expected when we moved back home. I am grateful for the places and people that accept me for who I am. It's just different. And despite being born here, I feel like an outsider. Vulnerability as an outsider is not easy. And that's all I wrote.
Maggie, that was so good. Middle school is such that analogy is
Thank you.
felt that one big time. But I'm a chronic oversharer. I am. Jennifer.
Okay. I was vulnerable, but I regretted it later because I feel that this person that I shared with decided that they knew who I was and the things I did by the information that I shared. I only knew her for about 6 months, and at the time I felt comfortable sharing some things as it seemed she would understand. About 6 months after that, a lot happened, and I found out that she had, I want to say, stereotyped me and was sharing information with a lot of people, some I barely knew. I regretted it because it really did send me into a spiral, and I put on an even thicker armor after that for quite a while. Recently, I had someone in my life that started displaying the same behavior. I recognized it right away. She asked me, well, what should I tell people? I was angry, talked to someone else about it, and they helped me realize I was angry because I prefer direct communication now, not gossip and third parties. So, yes, at first I regretted that I was vulnerable, but through work and time, I see it as a learning point for me. I'm starting, what? And a starting point to grow. I still get scared when I'm sharing things with people, but I share with people I trust. I didn't I didn't trust the first person I was talking about, but I pushed that feeling aside because I was so desperate for validation from others and to be a part of that I ignored everything I felt. I'm learning to love myself now, first and foremost. That's it.
Excellent. Constance.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Um, I was vulnerable, but I regretted it. I remember when I was with my first husband, and we weren't married yet. I'd gotten pregnant by him, and I felt I needed to tell him about me being pregnant before. Well, he lost his shit and walked out on me. Walked out of the townhouse. I felt so bad about myself, and at that moment, I lied to him and told him it had only been only pregnant once. But that was a lie. I begged him to forgive me. Um, and that would come back to haunt me and resurface during our divorce. My back was up against the wall because of his reaction. Instead of being strong and stand up for myself, the decision I made, I gave, I groveled and begged him to forgive me. I didn't want one more unplanned pregnancy. That was how I lived through that marriage, wanting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for me to be caught in one more lie. Everything was so secret, and I was so ashamed to even tell him about my past. One lie after another. We eloped and it was exciting at the time. but we had to keep everything a secret. I didn't know who I was, and to hide the secret that I was pregnant. I don't know if I would have left him or would I've stayed, or which is sad. I didn't have that kind of relationship with my second husband. We were much on sure footing because we had similar paths. We told each other everything, and we were so accepting of each other. We sweated the small stuff, but not the big stuff.
Thank you. Andrea?
Sorry, it took me a minute to get my mute off.
You're fine.
I was vulnerable. I regretted it when it backfired on me. Many times in my life, I have let people in, and it has rarely worked out, which has made me scared and live in fear from being able to be vulnerable with people. I get defensive. I feel attacked when I am not. I wish that sometimes I had not trusted some of the people I had in the past. However, I can't change it. A burnt piece of paper is never without marks. The question is, how do I get past the parts that are burnt and be me again? I forget. How do I forgive and forget? How do I let go of all of the things that have made me fear being vulnerable? I'm so worried that everyone will leave, that I cling too tight and I shut up too often. Fear lives deep. When it comes to vulnerability, I wish I could be stronger than I am. I'm overly critical on myself, especially today when my eyes are clear and my brain actually remembers things. Some things got a hold of me lately. Now I don't know myself anymore. Feels like the walls are all falling down and the devil's knocking at my door. Um, I really can't focus. Music, anything goes through my mind, so I don't have to listen to me and how I feel.
I love me some Teddy Swims. Thank you. That was good. Jessica. Jessica G.
Okay, I hate it, but all that's coming to mind is my first sponsor, and I love her dearly and have done tons of work, and we are better now. But I don't know if I will ever feel as comfortable as I once did. She helped save me and hung my moon for a while, and I still have so much respect for her, but the way our relationship ended felt like the ultimate betrayal. So the vulnerability was working and walking for almost 4 years with anyone other than my family related to me. I have never had a relationship that long. And when I hurt my back, I went to a very ugly, insecure, and mean place with everyone that I loved in sobriety. It is what I know to be my darkest days now. I encouraged my then 16-year-old to go to Al Anon or ACA and get someone to deal with some of the other stuff since her therapist didn't get it. We set boundaries. She got her own sponsor. We didn't overlap, and things were fine. We got into a fight, and my daughter said, "Everyone thinks you're being a jerk, including my sponsor." And it registered, and maybe it was just anger, but when I went to call and ask, she said, "I can talk to her about anything, anytime I want." And shattered wasn't even the word. I know I was sick, but it still stings a lot.
Thanks, Jess. Another Jessica.
I was vulnerable. The first two instances that come to mind are when I shared information about myself and it was twisted and weaponized by people who may or may not be narcissists. I am typically of the school that I am safe. I am safe because I admit all my truths, so I can't be hurt with what I'm already honest and transparent about. But when someone, because there's always that chance, despite how much I want to trust people, when someone twists those truths in order to make me look villainous for their own gain, well, it sucks. trust is vulnerability. And I have to say, I usually choose wisely the people I share trust with, but twice I haven't. And it hurt. And I have to let go again every now and then how I was or am perceived in those people's circles. It's hard. The other case I can think of is just being unheard. I deal with a boss who is impulsive and difficult, micromanaging and controlling because he doesn't know his own worth. Yes, I'm taking everyone's inventory. But I tried all last year to be vulnerable with him, to say hard things, ask for needs of myself, coworkers, and students, yet he proved dismissive time and again. I've been trying to write my way into an intuitive answer about where the balance is with him between parading my cold shoulder and RBF to keep him at a distance versus treating him with love. That's a stretch. Love and compassion and kindness. What a freaking order, which is the real vulnerability for me most of the time. And I had a thought on the question that you asked at the beginning of the meeting, oversharing as a vulnerability, which some of y'all were talking about. One of the things I explored in my writing this week was whether or not saying the thing was actually vulnerable in my case. Yes, I decided because I have to practice putting away self-righteousness because I'm so quick to tell people about themselves. So does that mean humility equates with vulnerability for me? I bet Renee has an answer for this. I read that really terribly. I hope it made sense.
I got it. I got it. You want to tell everybody what RBF is?
A resting bitch face for
There
anybody
you
who
go.
doesn't know.
Just want to make sure so that we're all on the same page. I know what it means. I'm just saying. Okay.
It's my armor.
It was a long time ago, decades actually, and I was sharing with a gal that I was trying to get to let me in more than she did. She had her walls up, arms crossed, mind shut often, and I always wanted to bust through like the Kool-Aid man. So I did a little emotional exhibitionism, and I shared some too personal and much too fresh, something too personal and much too fresh, um, in an attempt to make her feel safe. It backfired in a big way. She turned on me and judged my morality and spirituality, leaving me to feel naked and afraid. I found myself wondering if she'd tell others. No, what I had trusted her with. No, actually, I wondered how far and how wide this information would go. I felt stupid and small at first, angry and defensive later, and eventually saw that I'd done the wrong thing for the right reason, and that my manipulate good gravy, and that my manipulation had backfired. It really was my mistake. I didn't read the room or trust the process. I decided how our relationship should look and feel, and I was in a hurry and I took a shortcut to get my way. Over time, we worked through things to the degree we were able, but I still remember that shock and embarrassment vividly. Thank you for your vulnerability. I know at any time you have the right to share in a general way or to say this, I like what I wrote. I learned something from it, but I don't, because I understand that we may be treading into some waters and you guys don't necessarily know each other. So it would be kind of hypocritical to say you have to share if I'm teaching you discernment and trust. But whatever. Okay. What am I doing? I'm pushing this button and then I'm doing this thing and then I'm coming back over here. Yes, it worked. All right. I'm getting really excited about how this is working. Yeah, that was right. Why discernment matters. Vulnerability without wisdom can wound. Oversharing is often a search for safety. I thought that was really interesting. Oversharing is often a search for safety, and discernment protects connection. Regret, I love this line. Regret is information, not failure. What would you tell a friend who feels dumb for trusting the wrong person? Anybody care to share? What would you tell a friend who feels dumb for trusting the wrong person? Constance, go right ahead.
I would reassure them that they're not alone, that that's something that I've done before also, and here's how I learned to not do it the next time.
Very good. Who else?
I actually heard an interview. Actually, Bad Bunny was being interviewed, and he said something like, if I trust someone and they end up hurting me, it's not my fault. It's their fault for violating my trust. But trusting is a very humble thing, and I'm being vulnerable when I'm trusting someone else. Now, there is wisdom involved, like we're talking about, but I feel like it's never, um, yeah, I would just tell my friend it's not your fault. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if I delivered that as I intended, but
I got it. I got it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got something. Hi. I would say to them, it says more about them than it does you. Your heart is so open and you were willing to say yourself, this is not on you, it's on them. That's what I would say.
There you go. So, and of course, this exercise is what we need to be saying to ourselves when that happens. This, in the writing that I did, where I got to was that woman was very closed off. She was feeling already way too vulnerable because of the nature of the kinds of conversations we were having. and and she felt less than just by the nature of our relationship. And so her reaction was completely appropriate for where she was. I misread it. I tried to rush things, as I am known to do. I like to do relationships at the speed of microwave. I don't like waiting around. I mean, I just don't have a lot. I'm not deep into small talk anyway. We're either going to get inappropriate or dive deep, or I'm going to completely lose interest. And so that's my stuff, but sometimes that's not going to be received well. And some people are going to find that very threatening. The fact that I can go inside out and transparent as a jellyfish, for some people, that feels really uncomfortable because it feels like pressure. And it's a good thing for me to be aware of, but I'm not responsible for how they react or feel. Anybody else have anything to add? Okay. I'm just learning all the buttons. This is going really well. But I truly love that line, regret is information, not failure, because I have never considered it such. And I think I can file that away for later use, if not for myself, for some people I love. Safety versus exposure. Safety feels steady, grounded, and contained. Exposure feels urgent, anxious, and unprotected. Sometimes our body knows first. Um, Now, as I was writing this, there's a reason I actually changed up the wording to sometimes our body knows first. Some of us may well be disconnected from our body, so that things like advice like follow your gut or listen to your heart or where do you feel this in your body may not work well for you. It's something that I probably couldn't have used 15 years ago, but for the last, I don't know how many years, really paying attention to my reactions in my body, especially at times when I feel emotionally out of control has been very helpful to me because it allows me a way to ground myself and seek some clarity and regulate my breathing and those kinds of things before I make some decisions or reactions. But again, that's something that I can do now that I probably couldn't have done earlier on my journey, if you will. So here is prompt number 2. We're not going to stay in the negative. Let's write about one or more of your safe people. What makes them safe for you to open up to? How do you feel physically when you are with them or around them in their presence? So we're going to write about safe people and what makes them safe. How do you know and how do you feel around them? On your mark, get set, let's write. Okay, finish your thoughts. Maggie, tell us about your safe people or person.
I had a hard time getting started, so that's my first sentence. I'm having a hard time getting started. The people who know me best are my safe people. My sponsor is one of them, but there are times I notice myself filtering because she gets in places where she nitpicks. I think that's part of discernment for me. Even my safe people can be situationally unsafe. When their cups are full and my shit will splash right back onto me. But when she has room, boy, oh boy, I could rest in that safety always. And that holds me during the times when she's in a place of correcting. Now, don't get me wrong, I need correcting now and again, but there's a vibe where it feels like her shit more than mine. I've gone and turned the prompt upside down again by adding but. My sponsor is safe, but. And maybe that's part of wisdom and discernment too. As an adult child of alcoholics, I can go from feeling safe to feeling threatened on a dime. So reading the room, even with my safe people, is important. But then again, hypervigilance is also exhausting. So I ask my higher power for the wisdom to know the difference.
Beautiful. Jennifer?
Okay. My safe people. Got to be honest here. 2.5 years in, and I don't know if I have just one safe person for everything. I have a couple of people though. First, my sponsor. I have said some pretty crazy things to her, but I've never ended up feeling crazy after a conversation with her. One time she did say, after a very long rant from me, "You got all that from that?" I laugh about it now. We don't see each other in person often as we live in different cities, but I feel I can tell her anything without judgment, and she really does care. I remember in the beginning she said to me, "I'm not going anywhere." Man, I get emotional every time I think about that because no one had ever said that and meant that before. I feel safe because I know she has been where I was. I feel calm, which is something that does not come naturally to me. She also makes me feel motivated, especially when I want to rest on my laurels. She doesn't actually say anything directly. What? She doesn't actually say anything directly. Actually, she does it. I just know I get motivated. I feel sometimes it's hard to have a true safe person, partly because 4 years ago I moved 4 hours south of where I was, all by myself, just picked up and left and started over. I don't talk to anyone from where I was born and raised because they are definitely not safe people.
Thanks, Jen. Constant. You're muted, hon.
I usually hop off around 9 because I have to be up so early for work in the morning.
Okay.
But I knew you were going to call on me as soon as I sent that message. One of my safe people is a former sponsee and now bestie. I don't know when it happened. I feel safe because I don't feel judged at anything that I've shared with her. I know when we both are vulnerable, we learn to be safe with each other. We share a sense of humor. There's really nothing that we can't discuss, from my promiscuous history to my marriage to my relationships with others. There's never a time that she offers advice, just listens and makes suggestions. I don't know. I don't know what I would do without her in my life. We're known as grace and dignity. I think the mutual respect for each other is very powerful. She doesn't blow smoke up my ass. When necessary to be honest, she doesn't mince words. I know it comes from her caring about me. I trust her so much, I made her my POA and my executor of my estate. That is a true act of trust. She doesn't find it necessary to share with anyone else. There have been so many times when I just I discussed her. No, she hasn't discussed me with any other person, both in good and the bad. Her sister Kimberly would be someone else that I would feel truly safe with.
Thank you, dear. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, ladies.
Andrea.
All right. One of my safe people I can call through any chaos. And and I have. They're able to talk me off a ledge with sternness. I feel as if I can breathe when I am around them. My other safe person is who I am with every day. I know no matter how rough the day is, I can go to them and just lean in, and that physical touch grounds me. The chaos and uncertainty slip away when I am with them. It's like the whole world melts away. We can sit and laugh about the silliest things or talk about deep things. They have a huge heart that not everyone gets to see, but selfishly, I am kind of glad because this is my person. Anytime I stress, even when it is because of them, they can drag me back down to reality because believe me, I can go from normal to they're coming to take me away, haha, hee hee, ho ho, to the funny farm really quickly. I know that the people I have in my corner would go to bat for me. My old people would bail me out of jail. My new people are going to let me learn my lesson and then pick me up. I kind of wish my people knew the depths of what they do to my sanity. I know I have to be self regulating, but I'm still waiting on the parts to be melt to fix that. Regulator. Just kidding. All jokes aside, though, I am weak without my people. Also, I don't need to forget about God. My God and the unending love. Oh my gosh, I swear on my worst day, they are there and will pick me up and scatter the chaos when everyone else disappears. I have another friend. I told her she can't quit me. She knows too much. No,
Thanks, Andrea.
finished thoughts.
Jessica G.
Well, I only have a handful of folks that I really consider safe, and I guess there is a part of it that's just because I throw out some garbage at one point or another, and they just left it at the curb, so to speak. I need those people who know my burdens get heavy, but I don't mention them to heal, fix, or change me, or any other thing. I need those people who, no matter the circumstances, they try to treat people right, although we all suck at sometimes. It is the people who trust me enough to get vulnerable with me, the kindred spirit that just resonates with me from get go, and that doesn't mean we're alike in anything other than the lack of need to hurt others. I trust those that I know will be honest without motive, principled when nobody is looking, especially the ones that regret not stealing the easy grab when nobody would have known. The people that don't have to be told, please don't talk about something when I have said something intimate. Those that see through the exterior that has been chiseled by pain to the person who wants them to do whatever they want just to be happy. Almost all of my people are in recovery, so it's definitely divinely inspired.
Thanks, Jess. Other Jessica.
Yes, that's some good shit.
Right.
One one of my friends in the program always says, faith is hope with a track record. For me, this has been true not only with higher power, but also my people. The safest person in my life is my sponsor. She has proven time and again, promise I'm not brown nosing. She has proven time and again that I can go to her with some bullshit I've gotten myself into, and she responds with zero judgment, despite my being positive that I have finally done the thing that will result in capital punishment, whatever that looks like. She has shown me how to respond sanely and compassionately when people tell me the craziest shit, like the kid who was having visions of stabbing the girl who dumped him and her family. He gave me his senior pin when he graduated. Holy hell. Second, and it makes me smile to say, my sister, how amazeballs is it to have a built-in best friend? It was not always this way. My changed behavior beginning in recovery changed our relationship completely. No matter what truth I tell her about my experience growing up, real or fancied, even though she didn't experience it that way, she believes me. She validates me. Same with my sponsor. I know these women are safe, and there are more, but these two are the best because I feel seen, heard, understood, and not crazy or less than. They don't make me feel, or their responses to me don't trigger feelings within me that I am not enough, that I'm wrong, that I'm bad, which are stories that are tattooed into my bones. They accept and love me for who and where I am, no matter what.
Thank you. In thinking about my safe people, I'm realizing that because I've grown and practiced, I have several folks I feel completely comfortable with almost all of the time. The first one that comes to mind is my husband, but because he is my person, there are times when I do feel a little intimidated and uneasy because he really knows my stuff. He's seen me broken, sick, depressed, hateful, belligerent, unstable, unwilling. He feels safe almost all the time, except when he's angry, which is a reflection of my baggage, not his safety. I don't feel 100% safe around anyone who's really angry because I find that emotion so unpredictable, which is probably because I can't and don't trust my own anger. Interesting. My spiritual advisor is like 98% safe, but there's that tiny little 2% that makes me wobble a little. I've got safe friends, and my family relationships are getting far safer. I feel comfortable, relaxed. I can be quiet and I can crack up with my safest people. I don't feel the need to edit, control, or guide. I get to be unkempt and barefoot with my people. This experience with journaling has grown my safe circle quite a lot. One of the things that I learned in sobriety is like, if I can just like really crack up with you, or have comfortable silences, because both are out of control for me. They do not, does not, that's how I know something's happening. If I don't have to fill the air or run the risk of wetting my pants, um, then I know that you are. I like to make people laugh, but I have to be really safe to let loose and get good and tickled with you. Um, so that's just a weird little insight on, if you're ever playing Jennifer Trivia, now you know the answer. Anna.
All right. Um, I feel like in the program, I have a number of safe people. Uh, my sponsor, two of my friends at the group, two of my girlfriends, Katie and Melanie, a few of my stepsisters, and my partner and my dad. I feel supported and seen. There's often some understanding of each other as a person and very little judgment. I feel that I can cancel with them if I am overbooked, and so can they. Um, I feel like we are, I don't know what I'm saying. I feel like we are humans sharing space together. I do not feel the need to push myself to be invisible. Um, and it is truly like, or is truly one of the few times I am present in my body. I don't long to be a robot. I want to share and learn from them. I find it beneficial to schedule time with them for my own mental health. I am not really sure what else to say. I love being alone where it is quiet, and I not only happily make time for my safe people, but I miss them when they are gone. I lost a safe person last March, and I still think of him often. Sometimes I think about losing my dad, but I try hard to enjoy my people while they are here. There is so much time to miss them when they're gone.
Thank you. That's really cool when you don't want to be a robot. That's your tell. I like that a lot. Marie.
Okay. The safest person I knew, well, he's still hanging around, is my husband. Not able to sit with him, but I know he's still with me. It took us a long time to get to the point where we both trusted and were safe with each other. But I could tell him anything, just about anything. He had a way of seeing me and a way of feeling safe. Physically, I felt protected and understood. My heart was warm. It felt right. I do have some good friends too, I feel very safe with. I can share anything. I've known this one friend almost my entire life. I swear my blood pressure comes down when I'm in Izzy's presence. She is calm and it is calm and my body is not tight because I can be myself. I love being around her. Moving as much as I have in my lifetime, it is hard for me to get close to anyone. It just takes a little while. Over the past 40 years, it's been too many moves for me. But Izzy has been a forever friend, and my husband has always been with me. She knew she sees me, and for me, that is really important that somebody sees me and acknowledges that I exist. I don't have to hide underneath the table. I know they're there. It's truly a gift to have women. I have my sisters. I love my sisters. And I am talking about my sobriety sisters. I can be real with my sobrieties. I'm on this path with this new woman who I call a sponsor, and it's really cool getting to know her. But my heart is so open around her. I know that it's just right. And I know she's going to lead me somewhere. I don't know where, but I think she's going to lead me somewhere closer to being myself. I can tell because I can tag up my body. I've gotten connected with my body in the last 15 years. And in the last 15 years, I've been able to trust. Just recently, I didn't trust that ping, I call it, and it came back to bite me. I miss Dave. He is here, but he is my go-to person. He still is. I just can't hear what he's saying to me. Knowing him since I was 13 or 14 years old, seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he's seen the worst of me, and I've seen the worst of him, and he's seen the best of me, and I've seen the best of him. He made me feel safe and protected. I'm sure he did too, because I was probably the more aggressive one than him. But I'm grateful for all of this. I trust Izzy, and I really trust the sponsorship road I'm going. I know God has got it all. I know for me in the last 10 years, I have learned to connect with my body. That was a really hard thing to do, to listen to the little signals. And today I'm really trusting in that little bitty ping I get in the bottom of my belly. It's weird.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. Um, I I am sure there are lots of people who have heard this before. I had not. Brene Brown, I just saw a video this week, interesting timing, talks about she was talking to her daughter who shared a secret with somebody at school. I mean, and it probably was that sort of that middle school time. And she shared a secret with a friend, and the friend told a bunch of people, and they were laughing at her and making fun of her. And so she went home and told her mom about it and was, of course, just crumbling. And her mother said, trust is a jar of marbles, and your jar starts out empty. And each, there are things that people do and show you that build that trust. They put a marble in the jar each time. And so they talked a little bit about what adds marbles to your jar, and her daughter said, somebody who saves a seat at the table for me at lunch, and somebody who called when I wasn't at school because I was sick and called to check on me. That adds another marble to my jar. So um, just quickly unmute and tell me one thing that allows you to add a marble to the jar with people you're getting to know.
Laughter. Laughter gets me every time. I'm a sucker for a good joke.
Okay, that's a good one.
When they say, tell me how you really are, after when they say, how you doing? And then I say, fine. And they're like, how are you really doing? And then I'm able to really share.
That's a good one.
People who cuss a lot are usually my people.
For me, it's if they're looking in my eye. If they, when they speak to me, they're looking straight into my eye. But I like the cussing and I like everything else that was shared too. But for me, it's when they look me in the eye and I know they see me. Weird.
No, that's a good one.
Someone that can,
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
someone that can cry with me. I am a crier, and if you can sit there and get into it with me and start crying with me, or at least smile while I'm crying, like you can throw a marble in my jar any day.
Thank you. Okay, Jennifer.
Yeah, so that was hard one to think about. But I guess someone who really listens, doesn't just, well, yeah, looking in the eye and just actually listening and not just, yeah, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Anna, what you got?
I don't look people in the eye or cry very well, so I'm worried about those. Um, I guess someone who remembers something that you said. I try hard to remember stuff that people say and actively listen. And when somebody surprises me by I don't expect anyone to do it, but when they're like, "Oh, how's your dog?" I'm like, "Oh, you remember I have a dog."
That was one of the examples in the video that the little girl said that she remembered. It was somebody remembered her grandparents' names and what she called her grandparents. And I think that's a really good one. I like I like somebody who brings a little, I don't know how to pushes some chips in. Maybe gets a little vulnerable, tells me a little bit more than just fluffy, fluffy. Oh, actually, I also love people who ask a lot of questions. I was around a little gal this weekend, and she asked me 7,000 questions. And this may not even mean that you're trustworthy, but it means you're interested, and that makes a big difference to me. Like it feels like you're laying a foundation for something. Like I want to know about you. I don't just want to talk about the weather and what do you do for a living. Though I love talking about what I do for a living, I'm just saying. Okay. Discernment is learning to trust my gut. I trust my gut when I'm listening to my own intuition. I trust my gut when I'm willing to wait and see if I'm not sure whether somebody is trustworthy. I trust my gut when I'm allowed to change my mind as new information becomes available. I think I will always think of the same person every time we talk about first impressions. When I think about first impressions, there was this guy that I knew from well, a place where all of us go. Anyway, and he 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 was so polite and he flatters, and I got to really watch that because I my ego just goes, oh well, that's got to be a really wonderful person because they flattered me, and that's real dumb. Been burned by that one many times. But he was, I don't, y'all are, well, there's only one person I know will get the Leave It to Beaver. He was an Eddie Haskell. He was this phony. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And I was asking these little gals that I was working with, like, why is nobody dating this guy? And they all just looked at me in horror because I completely believed his act. And he was a total creeper. And I get tickled every time because I bought it and it's because he flattered me. I mean, like he was a total creeper, and I know because I wound up being with him for a while. I mean, I completely believed that first impression and it was so off. And so I have had to really give myself time and space to let some more things be revealed because I do read people wrong often with my first little encounter. I will make some assumptions or fill in some blanks. one of the things that y'all may be familiar with something called an inventory. And one of the things that I found on my inventory was I kept choosing inappropriate men, but there was this common theme. I had seen three different guys who were not a good match. I had seen them cry, and I had assumed that, oh, they're emotionally available. And nope, they were just having a weepy day. I mean, but I ran with that like, oh, look, here's this vulnerability. And that was, I just filled in a lot of blanks because of one little incident instead of getting to truly know that human. I know nobody else has ever rushed into something because it might be kind of okay, but I've been known to do that. It happens. Okay, here is the last prompt of the night. We're not gonna write 10 full minutes because we don't have that kind of time, but we are gonna write. Let's set it down to about there. When I feel like someone is pushing me to give more than I'm comfortable with, how do I react? And that may mean move faster, be closer, spend more time. That can mean whatever it means to you, by the way. I don't have an agenda. I just write the prompts. On your mark, get set, let's write. Okay, finish your thoughts. Okay. Marie, when you're ready, will you start us off?
Sure. When I feel like someone has pushed me to give me more than I'm comfortable with, I fold like a deck of cards. Man, I just fold and give in to them. I just avoid too. It's hard for me. It's really hard. The old sponsor I had was pushing me to do things and just say things that were her way, and I folded like a deck of cards, but I wanted to kill her in my head. I knew better. My body was telling me, but it was avoidance or just giving in is my protection. It's terrible. I will make excuses too for them. Today I'm seeing this doesn't help me, that I'm learning to open my mouth. I was being pushed to speak on a podcast a while ago to give too much information. I said, no, I'm not comfortable with. I didn't have a problem there, you see. I don't know. Since the death of my husband and a new sponsor, I feel my voice is coming back, but with of looking at with a good look at my ego, pride, and voice self. It hurts. I just am tired of avoiding and I'm tired of not telling myself the truth. This is a hard one. I'm okay with letting certain people who try to push me tell them what to, I have no problem telling the truth. But it's the ones who bully, have a bully tendency, I react differently.
Thanks, Marie.
Mm.
I relate a lot to that. Maggie?
I say yes anyway. I often cave and give of myself more than I'm comfortable with, and one of two scenarios usually plays out. One, I realize my resistance was fear based and I grow from the experience, or two, I do too much and leave the situation with an emotional hangover and a resentment. But if I'm living in such a way that I'm getting around to a 10th step every once in a while, the hangover and resentment offer a feedback loop to tell me, oops, that was a boundary that was crossed, and I can store that into my operating system to make better choices next time.
Very good. Jennifer?
Okay. One word, I get angry. That's the first thing. Then I quickly fabricate something in my mind so I can justify pushing that person out of my life because I got it comfortable for a minute. It's all or nothing, it seems. Looking back, I have not always succeeded in said person not being in my life anymore. So then I make things uncomfortable for them by being angry and nitpicky all the time. I feel like this has happened recently. I'm able to voice how I feel now for the most part, but that is definitely after pausing and talking it out with someone else. I get confused too because I still have that worry that I should be doing what other people want me to do, even if it makes me uncomfortable. Pausing and talking it out helps because I really don't like being angry and confused.
Very good. Andrea?
Okay, I heard table restaurant. Lynn, did you say my name?
I did.
Okay. Everyone else was quiet, so I was like, oh, it's me. Um, I tend to go either one of two ways. I completely shut down. Fuck it. Why not? I'll never get it. What's the use anyhow? That type of devil on my shoulder statements. Or, excuse me, I go back. Whoa. I go, I go balls deep. That's why I say, excuse me. I go balls deep and push it even further. I rage clean. I am not above getting a toothbrush to clean corners and crevices like a crackhead. Not somebody's, by the way. I live a moral life now. But in the same instance, I will go to the plank and throw myself off into shark infested water, saying, hey, I was blindfolded. You said I had one more step as I hit the water, drowning in my own blood and pieces. I'm petty. I'm over the top and push buttons. I promise you can push me, but one day the twig snaps. I have very little healthy boundaries, but I am trying little by slow.
Thank you. Jessica? Oklahoma.
If I'm pushed good, old tried and true anger comes out to go ahead and push you back. If you're crazy enough to stay, I try to retreat. And I don't have a lot of experiences past this point, but it would seem I'm kind of lazy and just give up then and do what needs to be done. Turns out I'm not as tough as I tried to be or prove for the last 40 plus years. So I really have kind of small walls. Don't get me wrong, my anger looks fierce and comes with a vicious tongue, and I have lost enough to where having nothing isn't that bad to me. But reality is, I want to stay. I want to feel wanted and to be enough. So putting up some kind of resistance is only for those I really don't trust at all. Sometimes I give untrustworthy folks stuff just to let them feel trusted. LOL, this was going to go somewhere.
Georgia Jessica.
This totally depends on the person because I suffer terribly from people pleasing and approval seeking in certain arenas, particularly those where the person I'm engaged with has some authority or I respect them a whole lot, or I've already convinced myself that I'm wrong or bad or not good enough in some way. This is a very small portion of people because the rest of them I draw a quick boundary. Most of the time, I know my comfort levels because I've analyzed and scrutinized before I've ever opened my mouth. Judgment is sometimes just necessary, lol. I can easily say, I'm not comfortable sharing that, or fuck right off, depending on my level of self-righteousness at the moment, or in comparison to that particular human. But get me in a not good enough scramble, and I will nervously spill all. Scrambling over words like choosing the wrong one will be my detriment. I always heard I don't fit in when listening to others in recovery. I always thought I fit in everywhere, but it took me years to realize that I was just a very skilled chameleon. I can be whoever you want me to be if I give one or two shits at all about what you think of me. If I respect you, I want you to respect me back. Back.
Well, I feel like you copied off my paper, is all I'm saying. When I feel pushed, I find myself fumbling for words. I struggle to make a decision. I'm protective of my time and I look for ways to escape. I get really awkward and there is no hiding it. Like I have zero poker face. The problem is that I become conflicted. My love of people pleasing collides with my drive to protect myself and I waffle. I keep thinking of the advice that if it's not a hell yeah, it's a hell no. I think that can be tempered, admittedly. I need more by admitting I need more time and more information, but my experience tells me that too fast leads me to slam on the brakes. If I don't know, I don't know if that's wisdom, trauma, or a little of column A and a little of column B, but it is where I land. Anna.
Yeah. Generally, when people do this, it just depends on if they're an authority figure or not. I often equate this with some kind of following unspoken rules, and it often eats my lunch. If it is a bad tummy feeling somewhere else, I just tend to walk away or say no thank you or say fuck off. And the latter tends to be my response with men. Women can be tougher because I know sometimes I just have to parse out my experience, strength, and hope um, as it relates to what we're talking about, just to not have something thrown back in my face and twisted. Um, for the most part, I do not love being vulnerable or talking about feelings, so this doesn't really come up. Um, unless I feel like I need to explain myself or I need to follow rules. Then all bets are off. I need to consciously shut my mouth and not overshare.
Thank you, Anna.
Also, I don't know if it's crosstalk here, if that's a thing here, but when you said save it to my operating system, I felt deeply seen.
You were you were speaking Anna's level. She was speaking robot. I don't owe anyone a part in my story. I get to set the pace in my relationships. There is a reason why I made that huge on the screen because I need to remember that. Closing reflection. What are you taking with you tonight? What feels lighter? What feels clearer? You're just going to have to know that in your knower because we don't have time to talk about it. I don't want to have a hostage situation here. This week, I'm feeling so productive. I have already sent you your email that has your prompts and little funtivities for the week. So that is in your inbox starting tomorrow. Share observations or insights in the comments for each prompt on the Facebook page and create a place for your writing material so you feel invited and encouraged to use your notebook. Set items out in a cozy place or create a journaling basket near a favorite chair. Give yourself a visible cue to continue your writing. I really appreciate you being here. Next week, we will meet at the same bat time on the same bat channel. If you have any questions or there's anything I can help you with, please let me know. I will also tell you next month for the writing club, we're going to do something completely different. I've never done it before. We're going to do meditation and writing. There won't be any slides. It's just going to be us sharing some meditative experiences and then doing some writing surrounding what happens there. And I will also on Tuesday nights be offering, it's called a flagship or an intensive course. It is 6 weeks long. It's on forgiveness. This is not included in a writing club membership. It is a more expensive course, but we do dive a whole lot deeper. And this is specifically for women who are feeling a little bit stuck. They've done other spiritual work, and there are just some things, maybe one relationship in the past, some wounds that just they can't quite get past. And we will do 6 weeks of Zooms. I am offering a daytime and a night option for that. You'll get a workbook, and I also am offering like a 30-minute one-on-one where we can either talk or write together on something specific after the course has ended. That's a little bonus that comes with that course. If it does not work for you to take it in March, but you would like to take it again, I will be offering it again in September on Tuesdays. So that is an option too. And that's all I've got for tonight. So